Lesson 5.1. Our objective is to write an equation of a line given the slope and the y-intercept. Key term: slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Math Academy. The lesson that we're doing today is fairly simple. It's fairly short and fairly simple. Our objective is to write an equation of a line given the slope and the y-intercept. We are going to write the equations in slope-intercept form. So let's go ahead and get started. Example 1 says, write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form with the given slope and the y-intercept. Well, now you know that slope-intercept form is simply y equals mx plus b, where the slope is represented by the letter m and the y-intercept is represented by the letter b. So if I look at my very first one, it says my slope is 7 and my y-intercept is -6. So I have my slope being 7 and my y-intercept is -6. Now these are the easiest problems to write equations of lines, but a lot of times kids will get confused and they'll try to do too much because they don't think it's this simple. All I need to do is put these two numbers in the proper order. So this becomes y equals, my slope is 7, so that's 7x minus 6. And that's my answer. Y equals 7x minus 6. So if I take a look at the next one, I know my slope is -3/4 and my y-intercept is 7/8. So when I write my equation of a line, it becomes y equals a -3/4x plus 7/8. Now, a lot of times, what I would catch students doing, a mistake that they would make is is that they would forget to put the x in. Now, if they did it one time, okay, you just overlooked it. But if they continue to do it, that means you really don't know what you're doing. You don't understand what you're doing. You're writing an equation of a line. You have to have the y and the x. You're putting it in slope-intercept form, so that's what it should look like. So the next one, my slope is 9, so this would be y equals 9x. My y-intercept is 75 hundredths, so plus 0.75. And then the last one, my slope is -4, so my equation would be y is equal to a -4x. My y-intercept is -19, excuse me, so minus 19. And that would be my answer. Doesn't get any easier than that. So let's take a look at our next example. On the next example, well, this time it's slightly different. We're given the graph. It says write an equation of a line for the given graph. We're still going to put the equations in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So just like the previous example, we need the slope and we need the y-intercept. Now the y-intercept is easy to identify. All you need to do is just look at your y-axis and see where the line crosses your y-axis, and here it crosses it too. Now we need our slope, and we'll use the y-intercept to figure out what the slope is. If you can recall, in a previous lesson, we learned that the slope is simply rise over run. So in order to figure out what the slope is, we'll start here, excuse me, we'll start here at the y-intercept. One thing that I know, as the line goes from left to right, it goes down, so I know that it's negative. I know that. So I'll just count my rise over run starting at my y-intercept. So I'll start here and I'll move down 1, 2, 3 units. So my numerator is going to be 3. Oh, I'm about to write 2. Let me fix this. And my run is going to be 1, 2 units. So that means that the slope is a -3/2. So now I have my slope and my y-intercept. I can write my equation. It's simply y equals a negative 3 halves x plus 2. Let's try this next one together. We're still going to put it in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. I need my slope and I need my y-intercept. Once again, to identify the y-intercept, I just look at the y-axis and I notice, well, where is the graph crossing the y-axis? And here it's crossing at negative 3. Excuse me. Now, from my y-intercept, I can identify what the slope is. I'm starting here at the y-intercept, and I would move up 2 units, and I'd move over 1 unit, making my slope 2 over 1, or simply 2. So when I get ready to write my equation, that becomes y equals, excuse me, 2x minus 3. Now what I want you to do, I want you to pause the video and try the next two on your own. Then restart the video so that you can check your answers. If you've restarted the video, that means that you are ready to check your answers. So let's go ahead and check these last two. Let me move this up just a smidge. Okay, we're doing the exact same thing. We're writing the equation of a line. We're doing them in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. You had to identify your y-intercept and your slope. The y-intercept is very easy to identify. You look at the y-axis and see where the line crosses the y-axis, and here it clearly crosses at 0. It's at the origin, 0. And then you use that y-intercept to calculate your slope from one point to the next. So to get from your y-intercept to the next point, you'd simply move up 1 unit, and then you'd move over 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would put you at the next point. So your slope is 1 over 4. To write your equation of a line, you'd simply put y equals 1/4 x plus 0. Now you don't need to put this 0, okay? When it starts at the origin, if your y-intercept is 0, you don't need to write it. So I would just put y equals 1/4 x. When you don't see a number there, you know that it started at 0. Your y-intercept is 0. Okay? Let's check this last one. It's a fairly simple process. Once again, you have to identify your slope and your y-intercept. Your y-intercept, you should have 4. And you use your y-intercept to calculate your slope from one point to the next. So from the y-intercept, I'd move down 1 unit, and I'd move over 1 unit. And I see, look, I'm going down, and I move down, so I know that my slope is negative. So I have a negative 1 over 1, that's just negative 1. So to write my equation, it would become a negative 1x plus 4. Now, another thing, it's understood that there's a 1 there, so we don't need to put that 1. So I would write it as y equals negative x plus 4. And it's understood that that means a negative 1x. And that's my final answer. This lesson is fairly short and fairly simple. I hope it's been of use to you. And continue to check us out on YouTube, the rest of our math videos. And once again, thank you for watching.